There's growing concern in rural areas across Washington and now in the legislature about a Washington State Supreme Court decision, and it's not the McCleary decision. Can you tell us about that?
What you're referring to is called the Hirst Decision, and it was a case in which the court ruled that Whatcom County had failed to protect the in-stream flow. And the court ruled that the county now had to determine water availability, wherein before the decision, counties relied on the Department of Ecology to determine water availability.
What kind of repercussions has this court ruling caused?
Well, they're pretty big, and let's just start with the landowner. If you bought a piece of land and you intended to build a home on it one day and you can't drill a well, you can't get a permit if you can't prove you have water. In order to do that, you have to do a hydrological survey, which is very expensive. So it's almost cost prohibitive for people to do that. So you have land that virtually you can't use. If you have a piece of land that you bought for retirement purposes, I had a constituent call me. Now you can't get water, and the value of that land is obviously diminished significantly. In fact, I had an auditor from another county to the north in my office, and I asked her, how would you evaluate this land now? Well, she said you'd value it like you would recreational land. It's about 15% of the value of that land before. So significant difference in the value of the land if you can't get water. So what does that mean? I mean, obviously it affects the realtors. It obviously affects the builders because they can't get permits to build homes, which in turn affects the building trades, right? If you think about people who do concrete work, framing, roofing, wiring, plumbing, all those jobs one day will stop when those permits that are in the pipeline are fulfilled and new ones don't come forward. And the other one that people might not be thinking about is the property tax. If your value of your home goes down, the formula is rate times value that determines property tax. If the value of your land goes down, it goes up till it hits the peak, what we call the lid, and that's the most you'll pay for property taxes, which means if there's that much diminished value in the rural areas, property taxes will probably go down. But the county is still going to collect the same amount of money. So what that means is there's a big tax shift from the rural areas to the cities. People who have the water, they don't lose the value in their land. They're going to pay significantly more in property taxes. So it's a huge tax shift. So the impact of this is just enormous. And for many of us, getting this decision fixed is a go-home deal for us.
So what is being done in response to this decision in the legislature?
Well, there are no less than a dozen bills that have been dropped regarding the decision, some reversing it, some creating what they call water banks. It's a somewhat complicated issue, and it's going to take a little time to vet it all out, but for many of us in the legislature, this is a go-home issue. We have to get this resolved. There's not a property owner in the state that won't be affected by this. Not one.
What can viewers of this program do?
Well, they have to get involved. This is a big enough deal that people really need to try to understand this, but they need to be calling their legislators. They can get them through the hotline, go to my website, but people need to get involved. We really need to put the pressure on the legislature to get this fixed.